Hi, welcome back to CITAM Church Online. We know it's been a while, but it's really good that you've tuned in today. My name is Richard Oketch, and today we're going to talk about the fruits of the Spirit. In the book of Galatians chapter 5, from verse 22 to 23, the Bible talks about the fruits of the Spirit. In the preceding verses, we are taught about the living life by the Spirit and the contradictions that the flesh has towards the Spirit. It is evident that we all know or have an idea of what life in the flesh is like, because the fruits are evident of this flesh. We have sexual immorality, debauchery, theft, anger, pride, and such things. I'm pretty sure there's something that you can relate with amongst those things that I've mentioned. But as a Christian, you have been called to a new life. You have been called to change. And so many of us wonder, how do you know you're making progress in your walk as a Christian? How do you know you're maturing? Paul tells us that we should aspire to move from drinking milk to eating meat as Christians. And there's a lot of things that have been said about spiritual maturity and spiritual growth and the markers that can show us who we are and where we're at in as far as the progression chart of maturity is concerned. But let us look at the simple tenets and principles that are given to us in the book of Galatians 5 from verse 22 and 23. But the fruits of the Spirit are love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, and self-control. Amongst such things, there is no law. The list that is given to us is very crucial for us to know that we are making progress as Christians. Spiritual maturity can boil down to those basic elements mentioned in the fruits of the Spirit. It is not easy to love. Sometimes we struggle with love because love is an action. It is a choice you have to make to love people, to love those around you, to love your friends, even your family. Sometimes you go through issues with different people, and because you are united by blood, you have no choice but to love them and stand by their side. Even you, it is not easy for some people to love you the way you are. So it is a deliberate effort to love. And look at joy. In the midst of all the things that are happening in this world, in the crisis that we have as a country, the different issues we're experiencing, it is very easy for us to turn cynical and decide, you know what, we're giving up on this land, we're giving up on human beings in general, there's nothing good that can come out of us. But to have that joy, to carry you day by day, it only takes the grace of God for you to have that joy. And remember, joy is not happiness. You might be happy today and then you're sad the next minute. But joy is a state of the heart that gives you contentment and assurance that God has everything under control, and therefore you do not need to fret or stress about the different issues that you're going through. And peace and patience, those are two things that you really have to think hard about and decide to pursue. Patience is something you also work on. It's progressive. It is something you can choose to learn. It is something you can choose to abide by, and it will guide your principles. It will guide your steps in how you relate with people. So it is important for us to understand that patience is a choice also. And I know many people think, you know what, I'm just generally not a patient person. It's not good to give excuses, but you have to work on who you are because it builds your character. And other than that, you generally just have to learn how to be patient, because not everything is going to work out the way you expect it to work. Even in your spiritual walk, sometimes God does not answer you in the timelines that you've given him, or in the structures, or in the formalities that you are used to, and the things that you desire. So it is important for us to know that patience takes time, and patience is a virtue that we all need to learn and we all need to embrace. Further on in the spiritual fruits, we have many other different fruits that we can talk about. But when you talk about kindness and gentleness, you need to know that they are not easy. I'm pretty sure you have experienced something, or you have gone through an experience here on earth that made you feel like you have run out of patience, you have lost it, and you are no longer going to tolerate anything that anyone tells you or does. We all have that breaking point. But to be kind, to be gentle, it calls for a mature spirit. It calls for someone who is ready to learn, ready to submit to God's will and decide, I am not going to respond to issues in anger or in a way that people would naturally expect, but I am going to exercise kindness and I am going to exercise gentleness. That is a quality, that is a virtue, that is a fruit that cannot be gotten overnight. It takes time. In essence, what I'm trying to say is spiritual maturity is progressive. It takes time. And the fruits of the Spirit are key indicators of our maturity and our progress as Christians. If you'd like to know whether you're making progress as a Christian or if you are maturing in the faith, just go back to the book of Galatians chapter 5. Read through the preceding verses and focus on the verses that are under life by the Spirit. Think about them. Draw up a chart and say, scale yourself. You can grade yourself. You can take an afternoon or some time out, carry out a SWOT analysis and say, in accordance to the book of Galatians 5, and with regards to the fruits of the Spirit, SWOT analysis. These are my strengths in as far as love is concerned. These are my weaknesses. These are the opportunities I have. And these are the threats that hinder me from attaining love. And then you move down. Joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, faithfulness, and self-control. Think about all those issues that have been mentioned. Carry out a SWOT analysis and see how you are doing as a Christian. And that way, you'll be able to tell if you're making progress, where you need to make some changes, and how you can better yourself as a Christian and those around you. Remember, it is not just about you. It is about those who you can influence as well, because this is a journey we'd like to walk together. I'm Richard Oketch. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching CITAM Church Online. We'd like to hear from you if you have any feedback, if you have any reviews. Engage with us in the different social media platforms we have. We are on Facebook, on Twitter, Instagram, and our videos are on YouTube. We'd like to hear from you, and thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.